closure conversations actually deal with incomplete pasts. So an incomplete past can prevent a new future. You run into that when you have people, and I know I was talking to someone, when people say stuff like, we tried that once before and it didn't work. That's an incomplete past that is stopping you from being able to do a new future. There's some residual with respect to that, and they're not going to give it up yet because it hasn't been adequately dealt with. Many of us deal with people where there are incomplete issues. There's baggage, if you will. So, going back to our likelihood of taking action. So, you remember this chart. Now, if you have a specific accountability appointment with the person you made the promise to. So I make the promise to Todd, he accepts the promise, and we agree to meet in 2 weeks to deal with the completion of the promise. I've now got an accountability appointment with Todd relative to the promise. The odds of me following through with that go to 95%. So making a promise to someone who's actually going to hold me to account. How are they going to hold me to account? Well, I've already established an accountability appointment, so I'm now accountable for that. And if I've got an agreement where the agreement is clearly specified, I know what I've promised, it's very easy for me to fulfill or to not fulfill to accomplish what we set out to accomplish. So the odds of me actually taking the action go way up, 95%. Which should tell you something about the level. If we've got people operating at the level of about 70% in reliability, that is carrying through on what they said, that should tell you something about the level of closure conversations in organizations. There are 4 A's in closure conversations. In many closure conversations, you will use all 4 of these, but not necessarily in every one of them. But it's always good to start from, here are the 4 A's, which ones do I really need to include in this particular conversation? The first one is to acknowledge the facts. That's not to give an excuse for, justification for, it's just to acknowledge the facts. So Todd, I said I'd have that for you by Friday. I just want to acknowledge it's now Friday, and I don't have it for you. It's not then go into a long explanation about why you don't have it, and here's all the stuff that happens. Just acknowledge the facts. I don't have it for you. He may say, well, what happened, or why not? And then I can give him those explanations. When it says address persistent complaints and conditions, sometimes you can acknowledge, like when Joe raised the issue about, but I don't have the resources. You can acknowledge, look, we don't have the resources. That's what's true. We don't have the resources. But I need more resources. Yeah, but we don't have those. So that's a persistent complaint about a condition that's not going to change. Appreciate the people. Appreciate the people is where recognition occurs. Recognize accomplishment and contribution. So appreciation is underutilized in organizations. As I keenly asked you, how many of you felt that you were over-recognized, over-appreciated, you wish they'd stop lauding all these awards and recognitions on you, just enough, and nobody raised your hand. Most people feel under-recognized and underappreciated at work, regardless of the level of results that they produce. They do not have an experience of being valued, cared about, or appreciated. So this is to appreciate and recognize the accomplishment. I really appreciate the work you gave on that project, the extraordinary hours you did, the breakthrough kinds of things you had to generate. You really appreciate them. And it's got to be an authentic appreciation. It's kind of like when people say, oh, thank you. That's not a real thank you. So it's got to be an authentic kind of appreciation. Apologize for mistakes and misunderstandings, even if you didn't do it. Yeah, but why would I apologize for a mistake or misunderstanding? Because I don't want it to be an issue between us. So yeah, that's why if you take the position that I suggested earlier, that you're getting everything that you ask for from people, and I don't get something I want from Janet, then I can apologize to Janet and say, Janet, I just really want to apologize. I clearly didn't communicate what I wanted from you before. That's a mistake on mine, and clearly created a misunderstanding. Now, is that necessarily true? She may have understood perfectly. But if I go in and say, well, Janet, you didn't do what you said, and you didn't do what you agreed to, and you know, all those kinds of things, she'll get defensive. It'll become an issue between the two of us, and our communication won't work. And I'm interested in being able to accomplish my change. And I'd like her assistance in her partnership. So apologize for mistakes and misunderstandings. Take responsibility even if you didn't do it. Have any of you encountered a problem that was caused by somebody before you? Mike's hand went way up. Mike, could you just say something briefly about what it might have been? Yeah, look carefully.
One of them was a process where there was zero cross-function, and somebody thought this was a great idea, moved forward with it, and now for the last year and a half I've been cleaning up the mess.
Yeah, cleaning up the mess. So now, he didn't do that. He's inherited that. Is it possible for him to apologize for the mess that got created by the person that came in before him? Sure. But I didn't, even though he didn't do it. Okay, so apologize for mistakes and misunderstandings.